This video will explain how to use RadLib, the Radio Frequency Identification Library. Now that you have Apache Cordova installed, let's get a project started. This command creates an application in a folder called App Directory with the name RadLib Example. Let's navigate to that now. By running Cordova platform add Android, we add Android 4.4 and above as an intended platform for our project. Cordova Run Android builds the project files and either flashes the app to your phone connected via USB or runs the app on an emulator. The build takes a few moments, but for educational purposes we will be fast forwarding through this. Using an application called MyMobiler, I will be showing you the view of our app's progress throughout this tutorial. As you can see, the Apache Cordova demo app gets installed by default. Cordova plugin add com.radlib.cordova.rfid reader will fetch RadLib to your PC for use in your app. Let me take a moment to open the necessary files in Sublime. Feel free to use any text editor which you prefer. We will be looking at index.html as well as index.js. Now let's modify the index file. We'll get rid of most of the things used for the Apache Cordova Hello World app. We'll leave in these two scripts. However, now that we've added a button that calls turn on Bluetooth, we need to write the function that gets called when the button is pressed. This is to be written in index.js located in the JS folder. Here I am typing a line of code that will call the turn on Bluetooth function found in RadLib's Bluetooth utils. If we look at the documentation on the RadLib GitHub, the two parameters are success and failure functions. The success and failure functions are called upon success or failure. Here in our success function, we will be using an alert window to display our success message. Likewise will our failure message. Let's get this on our phone. When I press the button, you'll see that the message will say "Sync enabled." You'll notice that there's this weird styling in the background. The reason for this is that we haven't gotten rid of the CSS file. Finally, the Bluetooth symbol will appear on the top. Now you'll see that in this CSS file it's all pre-generated and we do not want it. When we get rid of it, we will see a white background the next time we run the app. Let's try out radlib.scan. Here's a button for it in our index.html file. Now we'll need to make the corresponding function in index.js. According to the user's manual, scan takes in 3 parameters. I'll use the same failure for the second parameter, but I will need a different successful callback function. In index.js, scan will be used to call radlib scan. Radlib scan takes in 3 parameters, similar to turn on Bluetooth. The first 2 are a successful and failure callback function. For the failure callback, I'll use the same function, failure. The third parameter tells what to scan for. It accepts any array of accepted values. The only accepted value at this moment is Bluetooth, so put that into an array. For success, I will need a different function because the manual says that the object returned is actually an array as opposed to a string. The array will have the objects with the properties name, address, and connection type. Here is the code for print scan. It will simply be printing out what got scanned. For every found device, it will be looping through this alert. It begins with the name of the device, the MAC address, as well as the connection type, which in our case would be Bluetooth. Let's get this flashed onto our phone. Let's try out that new scan button. It does take a while to scan for nearby devices, but if it does find something, an alert window should pop up. Ah, there we go. Alright. Now let's try using RadLib Connect. For the HTML file, I'll add another button, Connect, and an empty paragraph. For the index.js file, I'll add the function Connect. This calls RadLib's Connect. If we look at the documentation, Connect takes in a reader object. Here are the necessary properties. Model, which is the model of the reader, address, connection type, which is how to connect to it, and friendly name, which is usually user specified. However, in this app, we will simply be using a hard-coded device. The model name must perfectly match those from the list of supported readers so that RadLib knows how to handle the data stream. Since we saw the MAC address in our little scan demo earlier, we can put that in as well as Bluetooth so we can directly connect to our device. Friendly name is simply the name that users can name it, and for our test purposes, we are going to be calling it My Device so that you can see it in our demo app. Our function connect is what calls RadLib's Connect. The first two parameters are success and failure functions, and we'll be using the same failure function as before. The third is the reader object, which we have just hard-coded. Print connect, like scan connect, will be printing out the connection data. This would be ID, which is the tag ID, the device type, the timestamp, the date stamp, as well as the data frame that is coming in from the device. At the bottom, we will be showing the friendly name, which should be My Device. Let's flash this to our phone. Now we can see the connect button there, and when you connect, it will directly connect to our device. Here we see the tag ID that is being read, the reader that is coming from, the timestamps of each sequential read, the date, the frame that is coming in from the reader, as well as friendly name, My Device. Thank you, and I hope that RadLib helps you in your foray into the world of RFID.